Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the McFarlane DC Multiverse Collector's Edition Captain Cold. I found this guy at Walmart. Unfortunately, he was the only one there, so I got somebody's leftovers. I do have the bundle coming from the McFarlane toy store, but I did want 2 Captain Cold figures, so this works out pretty good. Let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see, DC Multiverse Captain Cold. This is the classic traditional version, not like the weird page puncher we got a couple of years ago. McFarlane DC Multiverse Collector's Edition. Here he is in the package. Looks like we have 6 hands, 3 different faces, his freeze gun, collector's card, and display stand. One side of the package, Captain Cold from the Rogues. This is the 30th figure in the Collector's Edition subline. Other side, symbol says Captain Cold. In the back, you can see some of the different Flash Rogues. Mirror Master, Captain Cold, Heatwave. Hopefully we get all of them in their traditional looks. And at the bottom, there is a barcode if that helps. Now there's a Platinum Chase variant of everyone in this wave, Captain Cold, Guy Gardner, and Power Girl, and I'm a hunt for all of them. If anybody knows where I can get one for a reasonable price, or can possibly help me out, please drop me a line in the comments below. It is much appreciated. So with no further ado, let's open him up. Alright. Now that we have this figure out of the package, here he is with all the accessories laid out. We have a display stand, a collector's card, 6 interchangeable hands, 3 interchangeable faces, and his freeze gun. Before we take a look at all that, let's talk about and check out the figure. So this is Captain Cold. His real name is Leonard Snart. He's a member of the Flash Rogues Gallery. Long story short, he's basically an ice villain. Similar to Mr. Freeze, but different, but the same type of concept. Now, upon first glance, the figure looks great. They did an excellent job capturing his classic look, but at the same time, I feel like they fucked it up. His faceplate just keeps coming off. It won't seem to stay in place. It's really loose inside that hood. He is the first McFarlane collector's figure that had a clear rubber band holding the face onto his head. I've seen a lot of the figures, especially Huntress, with the faces that fell off, dangling in the package. And then his cold gun, it doesn't look like it's going to fit into any of his hands. But we'll dig into all of that deeper as we get to those accessories. So let's take a closer look. Like I said, I think they did an excellent job capturing the look. Now you can see as I put him forward, his face is just dangling there. It's super loose. And it'll stay inside the hood, but it won't stay where it's supposed to. And look at that, it just won't stay in place. Really, really annoying. He's got the signature Captain Cold sort of glasses, look like old school 3D glasses. And I think he looks great, but that face thing's really pissing me off. He's got the white fur around his hood. Once again, it just will not stay where it's supposed to. And it looks okay as is, even when it's sort of loose, but it doesn't bother the hell out of me. He's got this big sort of, hell, I don't even know what that thing is, white little shawl thing. Nice texturing on the costume. I wonder if there's any reuse from the previous Captain Cold. I doubt it, but we'll take a look later. Double jointed elbows, double jointed knees. He has, it looks like a fake, non-functioning holster for his gun. That also sucks. Belt's a nice shiny gold. There are different colors of his suit. It looks like maybe a lighter blue here, a little bit darker on the side. Looks like some cargo pockets maybe. And then big boots with fur on them. Double jointed knees as well. Sigh. Any closer look at his face and head sculpt, and all the complaints I have about his face falling off, maybe it's just mine. I actually have another Captain Cold on the way, coming on Monday, and at that point I guess I'll know the answer. But for now, it seems like his face is a huge issue. But it looks so damn good. He has that mean expression, slanted wide eyes, smile on his face. They did an excellent job on how he looks, but the functionality seems to be a different story. Look at the back of the hood, nice texturing. And then here's the figure, broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. Now let's check out his accessories, starting off with the boring stuff. So, here's his display stand. Typical McFarlane display stand we've seen countless times before. Only difference is this one has a silver DC at the bottom because it's from the collector's edition. Then we also have the collector's card. As you can see, it's an image of Captain Cold. We got some other Flash Rogues in the background. McFarlane Collector's Edition. On the back, there is a description. If you want to read that, pause now. Now let's check out his hands. He has 6 of them, 3 left hands and 3 right hands. Here he is with his first pair of hands. These are his fists. And here's his second pair of hands. This is a pair of gripping hands. And here's his third pair of hands. These are some open hands. They could be some grabbing, choking, or throwing hands. I will also say with his hands, the 2 fists and the 2 open hands, they don't attach to his wrist pegs very sturdily. The gripping hands snap and pop on like you'd expect. The other ones are fairly loose. Now let's look at his faces. He has 3 of them. The first one has a big smile on his face. The second one, a little more serious. And the third one has sort of a half smirk or smile. Here's a look at his first face. This one has the big smile. And then his second face. This one has the serious, stern expression. And here's his third face. This one has a sort of half smile going on. And in case you're wondering what he looks like with no face on, this is what he looks like. Now all 3 of the faces are equally loose inside the hood. Now I'm going to have to just guess that maybe that was intentional because it is kind of hard to get into the hood and pull the face out. So I guess they made it kind of loose so you can just sort of shake it and then pull it out. Either way, it's very displeasing. And here's his final accessory. This is his freeze gun. I swear a few years ago we would have even got this. It looks kind of like a hairdryer. And it seems like with the collector's edition figures, they're able to sort of squeeze in guns sometimes. And maybe it's just guns that don't look very normal. Sci-fi type guns. Whatever it is, I'm happy to have this. Like I said, it looks kind of like a hairdryer. Nice texturing across the barrel, as well as the handle. And here's my biggest complaint about this freeze gun. How the fuck am I supposed to fit that into this gripping hand? Look how small that grip is. And look at how enormous that gun handle is. It is not going to happen. I can probably stretch it out, heat it up, whatever I got to do to put that in there. But man, that is not designed well. And so many figures McFarlane gives gripping hands with trigger fingers for no reason. And this guy needs that and doesn't have it. And these hands look like they were uniquely designed for Captain Cold. There's some texture, knuckles, etc. So I don't think they just took a random hand they had sitting around and that's why it doesn't work. They literally made new hands to this guy and they don't even seem to work with the accessory. I'm going to heat it up, shove it in there, and I'm sure it'll probably work. But man, come on. Here's Captain Cold holding the freeze gun, pointing it right at you. Now, it really wasn't a big deal to get it in there. The hand is gummy enough that you can stretch it out. It's not very gummy, but I didn't have to heat it up. I could just sort of stretch the fingers apart and shove the gun in there. And it actually doesn't look bad. So I'll scratch that off my complaints for this guy. But the fake freaking holster is super annoying. And the face thing is as well. And I think maybe I understand why. But they could have figured out something better than that. Now to check out the reuse and differences between this classic Captain Cold and the sort of weird McFarlane Page Puncher version. And when handling the classic version, I thought his body felt very familiar. And they use the same base body, so obviously the heads are totally different. This sort of thing on top, also different. And then the torso and the stomach and the arms all appear to be exactly the same, even down to the gloves and the fur. The diaper piece is probably the same underneath with a different belt and holster. He's got the same legs and boots in both the figures, so they share a lot more parts than I anticipated, and you know what? I think it works great. This guy looks like a perfect Captain Cold. And I've seen a lot of people customize this into a similar Captain Cold as that. And there are now 3 figures that utilize this base body. We have the Page Puncher Captain Cold, the metallic version of the Page Puncher Captain Cold, the new traditional Captain Cold, and then there's the Platinum Chase variant of this one, which is based off the Super Friends cartoon show. So I guess 4 figures utilizing this body at this point. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories, let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his hood, say about 7.1, maybe 7.2 inches tall, which can translate to just over 18 centimeters. And for his articulation, starting with this head. Now the hood is separate and can move independently, which is very nice. Can look up and down, not too much. Can't really tilt from side to side. It does a little bit, but not much. Now that face just continues to want to be loose. Now it does stay inside of there, but if you just rattle it out, it falls right out. That is really pissing me off. I probably had this thing fall on the floor at least 10 times since I started this video. Shoulders on a ball joint goes out about 90 degrees. Up, down, around. He does have that butterfly ring between his shoulder and chest. He's got a bicep cut below that. Double jointed elbows. His wrist can rotate and it's hinged. Torso, ball joint, rotate around, forward and back. Another one is waist, rotate around, forward and back. Between the two, pretty good range of motion. You get a little bit more out of the waist than the torso in this guy. Legs, completely does the splits, McFarlane style hip joints. Rotation is pretty good. Legs go forward, about that far, back not at all. Double jointed knees. There goes that damn face again. And his ankle, forward and back. Rotate, tilt, rock, and he has toe articulation, but you don't get much out of it. Here's a look at Captain Cold in his lair, surrounded by ice. Now let's check him out. Next to some other action figures, starting off with some other Captain Cold figures. Here are all of my McFarlane DC Multiverse Captain Cold figures. 2 Page Puncher, 1 Classic, and I still have to track down the Platinum Chase variant, which has a blue face and is based on the Super Friends cartoon show. Here he is with a couple of DC Direct Captain Cold figures. I got 2 of most of my Captain Cold figures because I thought they might work for Mr. Freeze thugs or henchmen. I always wanted to get around to repainting their outfits so they looked less like Captain Cold and more like a generic guy wearing a winter outfit. And in turn, that's why I bought this Captain Cold at Walmart. I have the bundle on the way, and I thought I could keep my little trend going. And here he is, next to a DC Direct, New 52 Captain Cold. This is the only one that I didn't get 2 of because he does not in his traditional Captain Cold look, and he has a very unique look to him. I don't think he would work for Mr. Freeze henchman. Then, with a couple more DC Direct Captain Cold figures. These guys also have fake holsters for their Freeze gun. None of the other ones do, though. Next, with a couple of DC Direct Arrowverse Captain Cold figures. I think these are my favorite Freeze thugs or henchmen because they don't have that traditional Captain Cold look. A little easier for me to pretend it's just a random guy in a sort of snowsuit working to help Mr. Freeze. And now, with a couple of Mattel DC Universe Classics Captain Cold figures. These are the first ones that I got, and these are the ones that I intended to make Mr. Freeze thugs or henchmen. I'd say these used to be my favorite Captain Cold figures, and even with the face problem, I think I like the new one better. But man, I might just have to glue that freaking face on, and that sucks. And finally, with a couple of Mattel Justice League Unlimited Captain Cold figures. Here's a look at all the Flash rogues McFarlane has made so far. Reverse Flash, Captain Boomerang, Captain Cold, Heatwave, and Gorilla Grodd. Now we need a regular comic version of Heatwave and Gorilla Grodd, and I'm sure they're coming eventually. I wouldn't mind getting Trickster, Weather Wizard, and Mirror Master. That would make a really cool Flash Rogues Gallery. And I guess you could add Dark Flash and Godspeed to the Flash Rogues Gallery. There are a ton of evil speedsters out there. Here's Captain Cold, next to a couple of Flash figures. And here's Captain Cold, next to all the McFarlane DC Multiverse Mr. Freeze figures. I always thought it was cool when you have the different Cold villains team up. We still need Icicle, Killer Frost, the good guy side of things, Ice to go with fire. So here's the McFarlane Collector's Edition Wave 1. Every single Collector's Edition figure has a Platinum Chase variant. Here are both the regular and Platinum Chase variants of the first appearance Superman, the Abyss, and Alan Scott Green Lantern. And here's the second wave of Collector's Edition figures, both regular and Platinum versions of Firestorm, Hawkman, and Sinestro. Then, the third wave of Collector's Edition figures. We have the Death and Return of Superman, Captain Carrot, Batman as Green Lantern, and Wonder Woman. Here's the fourth wave. This wave consisted of Penguin, Starfire, and Captain Boomerang. And here's the fifth wave of McFarlane Collector's Edition figures, both the regular and Platinum Chase variants of Sergeant Rock, Connor Kent Superboy, and Manga Batman. Here's the sixth wave of Collector's Edition figures, both versions of the Red Hood, Clock King and Dr. Time, Ragman, and Agent Liberty. And finally, here's the 7th wave of McFarlane Collector's Edition figures. Both the regular and Platinum Chase variants of the Dark Knight Returns Batman, Huntress, and some Green Lantern Corps members. We have Tomar Ray, Evan Sewer, Arcus Chummock, and the Green Man. And then here, next to the 8th wave of McFarlane Collector's Edition figures. Finally, I have this wave complete. Both the regular and Platinum Chase variants of Lightning Lad, 7 Boss Green Lantern, Geoforce, Grid, Christopher Reeve Superman, and finally Mr. Terrific. It's been a long time coming, but I finally have this wave complete. This wave was unusually large. Usually it's just 3 figures, maybe an exclusive, but this one had 4 figures and 2 different exclusives. The next wave is going to consist of Power Girl, Guy Gardner, Green Lantern, and Captain Cold. Looking forward to those, and looking forward to finding out what the Platinums are going to be. Then, with the 9th wave of McFarlane Collector's Edition figures, I have the regular Captain Cold and the Platinum Chase variant of Guy Gardner. I do have the bundle of 3 figures coming the day after tomorrow, so I'll take care of all the regular figures, and I'm still on the hunt for a Platinum Power Girl and a Platinum Captain Cold. If anyone can help me out, drop me a line. Now let's check them out, next to some other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here he is, next to the Joaquin Phoenix Joker or Arthur Fleck, and Franklin Murray 2-pack. Here's Captain Cold, next to the McFarlane Toy Store exclusive Icon figure. And here he is, next to the Target exclusive Gold Label Wildcat and Orion. Then, next to the most recent wave of Page Punchers, both versions of Shazam, the comic version of Christopher Reeve Superman, and both versions of the animated Red Hood. And now, with the King Kong vs. Batman 3-pack, here's Captain Cold, next to the most recent Batman wave, both the regular and Platinum versions of the Noel Batman and Silver Age Batman, the Platinum Batman vs. Spawn Batman, and all 3 versions of the Neo-Gothic Batman Beyond Batman. And here he is, next to the Justice League Task Force wave, both the regular and Platinum Chase variants of Aquaman, the Flash, Batman, Superman, and Darkseid. Then, with the GameStop exclusive Frostbite Nightwing, and the Amazon exclusive Batman that came with the Backglider. And now, with the Amazon exclusive Court of Owls 3-pack. And finally, with the most recent Mega figures, we have the Planet Ron Red Swamp Thing, and the Zack Snyder's Justice League Armored Darkseid. This is one that came with a throne. Now let's check him out, next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how he fits in both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a McFarlane toy, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect, and work my way smaller. But first, let's check him out with some of his McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale. And now, with some Jack-specific wrestling figures, and some Diamond Select toys, here's Captain Cold, next to a box of Girl Scout cookies. And here he is, with some DC Direct and NECA figures. Then, with both some Jazzwares and Mattel wrestling figures. And now, with some Mezco and Mattel DC figures. Next, with some Mafex and Hasbro Marvel Legends. And finally, with some SH Figuarts and Jazzwares Fortnite figures. So overall, this is a fantastic Captain Cold figure. He looks absolutely perfect. He looks great. Now he has some problems. The flaws are, number 1, I'm going to retract the gun and the hand thing, because it actually works. The face thing is unforgivable. The stupid faces fall off, and honestly I'm pretty sure that's intentional by McFarlane, because I think it's difficult to get in there under the hood and swap out the faces, so they made them kind of loose, and the hood kind of keeps them inside of there. But it's really damn annoying. They're jiggling around all over the place, they're falling out. I'd say the face fell out at least 15 times during this video. Also, the fake holster definitely bothers me. The reuse is not an issue. Like I said, he looks great. I probably would give this figure like an 8.5, but those flaws, I don't see how I can give him more than a 7. Still a really nice looking figure. Probably need to get some sticky tack, or possibly can glue his face on there. Who am I kidding? I'm never going to glue the face on there, because there are too many cool options. But a little bit of sticky tack in the holes there would really make a big difference. I think they could have engineered his face somehow a little bit differently. Like I said, pretty sure it's intentional the way they did. This is the only figure I've ever seen to have a clear rubber band holding his face onto his head in the package. So this is D Hunter. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.